Today, I'm going to share a list with you that I wish I would have known in my 20s. And specifically when I say my 20s, I mean my early 20s, like 20, 21 through 23. I wish I would have known these things. I'm going to share these things with you today. First thing that I wish I would have known at the early ages of 20 is the power of investing, the power of putting money into yourself, and the power of just learning and developing yourself, right? So here's the thing. The problem is a lot of us, man, especially as men, younger men, we've been conditioned to think that education is like learning just like regular like social studies and like traditional things that they teach us in school, which is not necessarily valuable all the time because a lot of different reasons that may come with that as far as the school system and how that goes, right? So here's the thing. The power of investing in yourself in education is one of the number one things that I wish I would have learned earlier. If I would have known earlier the power of investing in myself, paying somebody to help me, paying a mentor, paying a coach, and teach me different life skills like how to invest, how to make more money, how to have an online presence, how to buy a house, like how to invest in stock. Like if I knew all of those things much earlier in my life and much earlier in my career, I would be so much further than I am right now. However, I do believe that, everything it happens for a reason and all of these things, right? But if I were able to invest in myself, and if you're at that age, or maybe you're a little bit older, regardless of where you are, if you invest in yourself, you learn something that can't be taken away from you. So if you know the power of credit, if you know the power of real estate, you know the power of just doing different things in your life, you will never lose that. So you gain that intellectual property that will never lose, right? So as you're growing older, the only thing you could do is get better and develop that skill even more, right? So probably the number one thing is investing in myself much earlier. The second thing I would have learned how to do is network. If I was earlier in my 20s, if I would have known how to connect with people, the power of connection, the power of introducing yourself and just saying, hey, I am XYZ. This is what I do. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to go. I promise you, man, again, you'll be a lot further because the more people you meet earlier on, the longer you have to build that relationship with them. The fact is that when I was in college and I was learning the power of networking, and I really didn't necessarily know what I was doing. The reason I got my first job, my first Fortune 500 job, the first opportunity that I had out of college, which took my trajectory so much higher and further, is because I was able to meet somebody. And when I met that person, he took me to a whole nother level. Same thing with right now, right? Like I know the power of networking and meeting people. People have the ability to take you to the next level. And if you know that, the earlier you know that, the further you can go. So I wish I would have known that a lot earlier, and I would have told myself to definitely learn how to network and just connect with more people more consistently so I can continue to make and take those steps, right? The third thing that I wish I would have known a lot earlier was the value of time. Like time. When I was in school, I wasted a lot of time, man. But I think it was valuable time that I had to waste because now I know the value of it, right? Like when I say that, I'm saying like sometimes you'll wake up one day and you'll really realize like you're getting older. Like, oh, like my parents are getting older, my siblings are getting older, my friends are getting older. You will start to recognize that some people are wasting time, and you'll recognize that some people are actually making use of their time. They're actually elevating and growing. Some people that you'll recognize they're just in the same spaces you were years and years ago when you're in your early 20s, or you'll start to realize that people are actually taking off, right? Like and I think that a testament to that is people knowing how to use their time and doing it effectively as well. So if you're a person that knows the value of time, you wake up early, or even if you don't wake up early, you know how to stay up late, get things done, or just use the most of your time in managing your focus, I would have been a lot further along in the game rather than maybe just partying early in my 20s and just having fun and turning up and doing all these trips and excursions and spending time with people and friends that maybe I'm not even necessarily cool and close with to this day. I would have spent it, creating and doing more things that's in alignment with what I'm trying to do in my life. So the value of time is very important. The people that understand that earlier get a lot further. Like imagine if you were able to do things in your early 20s, like really focus on what you want to do and accomplish then, and then continue to build on. So if you're in that position to do that now, definitely value your focus as well. The fourth thing I wish I would have known is I wish I would have known to be okay with the way that people are. I remember when I was younger, I used to try to figure out why people acted a certain way. Like why did people show up the way that they did or act the way that they do? Like maybe people it would will feel like inconsistent, like people being inconsistent, or maybe they didn't support what I was doing, or they didn't support my business, or they would try to say I changed, or like I'm different, and all of these different things. And I would always like wonder and question myself. Like I would question, like, what am I doing wrong? Or like, why is this person acting like that? Or I would just always try to question that person instead of just letting people be who they are. Because the thing about it is that in your 20s, you care a lot about, in your early 20s specifically, I feel like a lot of people, we care about what people do, how they react to you, how they show up for you, how y'all are in your relationship. And the reality of it is that, yeah, you can have these acquaintances, you can have these people in your life, but I had to recognize that people are going to be people, right? Like some people may not support what I'm doing right now, but I'm okay with that now. Like, and I feel like people don't learn that till later in life. At this point, like you can't care about if people are supporting you, if they doing this, if they doing that. Just appreciate people for what they do for you, right? Like even if it's nothing, great, appreciate that. If they do something for you, cool. And regardless, then it's all good. You know what I'm saying? So I wish I would have known that a lot earlier in the game. The next thing I wish I would have recognized, I believe this is number 6. The sixth thing I wish I would have known is I wish I would have known the importance of emotional intelligence. I wish I would have known how important my emotions were. I wish I would have known how important being able to control them. Because the problem is, like, a lot of, like, in your 20s and just earlier on in your development as a man, a lot of us, we let our emotions control us. So if we're angry, then that means we're just angry, right? Like, so then you do things that make you angry. Like it makes you want to maybe lash out. Maybe you want to turn up on somebody. Maybe you just want to crash out and just go off on everybody. Or maybe you sad and you just start to like let that sadness control you. And majority of the time when your emotions are controlling you, then you don't have control of yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of young men, at that age, they could face a lot of different consequences for that. Like some men may let their emotions get in the way because of a woman, because of a situation, and now they sabotage themselves by hurting somebody or doing a crime, committing a crime, or just doing things that's not in their best favor. And then that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. Like I have friends or I have people, I'm not going to say they're friends at this point. Like I know people that I used to be cool with in high school and afterwards, like early college, that, are doing jail time or doing things because they didn't have the emotional intelligence in their mind at that time. Like they didn't know how to be self-aware and self-manage themselves. So therefore they crashed out or did something that affected them for the rest of their lives. So I wish I would have known the importance of that earlier. And I think that although I have not made any decisions that have necessarily hurt me like tremendously, of course, everybody makes mistakes, but I know people that have made those mistakes that has affected them tremendously. So I wish I would have known how important that was much earlier on. And I definitely believe that would have just been able to, encourage me to make some different decisions. The seventh thing I wish I would have known is what a growth mindset was. Like, I think that I've always been a person that has been dedicated to making change and being a better person. But I definitely believe that earlier on in my life and in my career and in my 20s, like I always thought that sometimes when things went wrong, things just went wrong. Like there's been so many times that I might have lost a job or might have got fired from a job, right? And I think that sometimes I would get in the mindset of, oh, it's my fault, or I'm not going to be able to bounce back, or something's not going to work out for me, and like it just wasn't meant to be. And I would just really beat myself up a lot, man. Things that can really affect you. Like when you get down on yourself, like I would get down on myself a lot and just like want to like quit or give up on the goal that I'm pursuing. But instead, if I was able to have a growth mindset then I would be able to say, you know what, it's okay. I didn't get this job for a reason. Like I was placed in this position for a reason. I was able to learn this for a reason. And just being more open to the experience of life and letting it happen for me rather than happening to me. I wish I would have like not known to be a victim, right? And I think that'll take me to my next point. Point number 8 is don't be a victim. Right? Like, again, it's so easy for us to start to think that things are happening to us rather than for us. So when something happens negatively, we think, oh, well, of course this happened to me, or of course this is supposed to be, this is my fault, or of course this didn't go right for me. And that's that victimhood. That's victim mentality. And I think that a lot of people in their younger 20s might experience and have that because you've been coddled your whole life. Maybe your parents or your guardians have been taking care of you, and then you think that everything's supposed to go right, or you get babied, and then you take that into the real world, and that's not how it happens, right? Like you have to be a person that's not a victim. You have to look at every situation as if this is happening for me rather than to me. And when you have that perspective and that mindset, then likely everything you'll be able to just breeze past and continue to move through and be better with. The ninth thing I think I would have wanted to know is being patient with myself, because we live in a society that is instant gratification. Like everything we look at, everything we do, everything we see, we feel that we need to have it right now. We think that it's supposed to happen today, like not tomorrow, not next year. I always wanted things to happen immediately. So I would start a journey, the gym, or trying to get a job, or trying to apply for a different school or organization to be a part of. And at the time, it would take years. Like back in hindsight, looking at the situation, it took me 1 or 2 years to finally accomplish a goal. But then I always wanted things right then and there. Like I wanted things on the first go round. I wanted things to happen for me immediately once I tried something. And what that did was it made me not appreciate the process. Again, I wanted it instantly. And if I was more patient with myself and more willing to wait out the process, and just know that everything is going to work out and be patient with myself, I think that I would have been a lot more confident, like I think I would have been more confident knowing that things are going to work out. When things didn't work out, I thought it wasn't meant for me. I thought I was losing. I thought I was a loser. I thought that I wasn't confident. So therefore, knowing that would have helped me to just continue to persist towards the goal, continue to be the best version of me, and just knowing that things are going to work out. Number 10, I wish I would have embraced my skills then, or even just known and learned what my skills were. As I was coming up, I didn't really know that I had a skill for talking. I didn't know that I had a skill for listening and helping people and actually being able to have people share and be vulnerable and authentic with me. I didn't know that was a skill of mine. I was just trying to make money. I was doing everything to just try to put $1 in my pocket rather than make impact. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have spent so much more time trying to figure out what I'm good at, because everyone has a skill. Everyone is good and better at something than other people. It may come so naturally to you that you don't even recognize it as being a strength of yours. So I wish I would have known that I have a skill that people would pay me for, or even I can make impact with. And that'll take me to the next point, is point 11. The 11th thing I wish I would have known or did was look for the signs. Like sometimes there are signs in front of you that are telling you what you should or what you could be doing and what you're good at. So earlier on, when I was in school and I was in college, back to the example of me, I lost my job, right? Like I've lost plenty of jobs. Like I've got fired from some places for whatever reason, right? But then I remember I worked at the gym, and I've told this story before. I worked at the gym as a manager, or like a person, not a manager, but I was an events coordinator. So I would help set up for events, and I would help like move chairs, stack tables, and set up for whatever was going on that evening. And I remember I really liked that job because it was easy. I could sit down, I could chill. They fed us for free. Like it was that type of vibe, like college, whatever. And I remember I lost that job, whatever reason I lost that job at the time. And the next job I got was a coaching job, peer coaching. So I was coaching other students on how to get their grades right, or like what's the stuff that they could do to just improve and just meet with their professors and like really create a plan that would help them step by step get to the next level. I never once thought about, oh, I lost this job, or I was taken away from the gym, which had no purpose to me, to actually coach other people. That was a sign right then and there. So when things don't go your way, I wish I would have known that maybe it's not going my way for a reason, and maybe that's a sign for me to be doing something else. Look up, years later, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm coaching, I'm helping people, I'm self-development. I'm helping people be the best version of themselves as I'm on my journey as well. And if I would have known that, I would have embraced it more and took it a lot more seriously, right? Number 12, I wish I would have known the power of your community and the people that you hang around, right? So here's the thing. A lot of us, man, especially earlier on, we hang out with the people that we meet, right? Like we might meet somebody that, we deem, somewhat cool. But the problem is that a lot of times the people that you're a sum of the people that you hang around. So if you're hanging around people that are doing things, which when I was in school, mostly was smoking or just partying, which is pretty traditional, smoking, partying. But outside of traditional things, for some of the people I was hanging around, they didn't necessarily have that drive that I had. Like I've always been a person that's been driven. Like I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to go to the next level. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do like, I'm always been that type of person that's been driven, dedicated. But the people I was hanging around weren't always like that. The people I was hanging around might have been okay with just smoking and chilling all day, right? Like just relaxing, not really having anything that they was focused on, just kind of just chilling, maybe just partying, like, and not doing anything else. Like the school, maybe their grades weren't A1. Like I was a person that, party hard and I graduate. I party hard and like it's always business first, and I'm gonna have some fun too. But I didn't always hang around people like that. I believe that if I would have hung out with people that were on the same wavelength, on the same timing as I was, then I believe that I could have been a lot further, because I could have built those relationships up more. Like my GPA could have been higher, or my job could have been better, because I was talking and having conversations with people consistently that were doing the things that I wanted to do. And I do that now, and it definitely helps to traject you to the next level as well. Number 13, which is kind of ties into my last point. Embrace who you are, man. Like you are a person, like you may be a person that is so multi-dimensional that makes you who you are, right? Like you might be a person that loves anime, you might be a person that loves basketball and going to the gym, and you like to just hang around women and just kick it and just be cool. Embrace that person, embrace who you are. I think earlier in life, a lot of people, especially early 20s, when you don't have any direction, you try to be a chameleon, right? Like you might try to fit in over here, and then you could be red one day, you could be blue the next day, because you're trying to just fit in with the crowd, instead of you just being your authentic chameleon, your authentic color of who you are, and letting people attract to you. You shining your light, you being that person that is bringing other people into your circle, into your world. I wish I would have did that more, because again, I was just kind of like, I can kind of flow and connect with a lot of different people, and sometimes that's okay, but other times I wish I would have did more of me. 14th thing I wish I would have known was the power of affirmation. I thought that was the cheesiest thing ever. Like I thought that me telling myself like, oh, you the man, you confident man, you can get anything you want in this world. You are that guy, you are that man, bro. You can do anything. I thought me telling myself that, or listening to affirmations, one, I wasn't aware of that, but also I thought it was corny. Like I thought it was corny talking to myself in the mirror. I thought it was corny to meditate. I thought it was corny to journal. Like I just thought I was too cool for that. So therefore I never did it. I wish I would have known then how powerful it was to do those things. Like if I was affirming myself, talking to myself in my early 20s, I would be a beast right now. And I am a beast. I'm still a beast. But like I would be a different beast. I would be what Kobe said, I would be a different animal and the same beast. I think something like that, right? A different animal and the same beast at the same time, right? So the power of affirmation, man, very powerful. Number 15, knowing the power of your voice. If I would have known how powerful my voice is, then once again, so much more content would be out there. So much more of affirmation would be out there. So much of me would be much more out there than it is right now. Because I used to think that my story, who I was, what I've been through, I used to think that was insignificant. I would think that people don't want to hear what I have to say because of whatever reason. But now, like, that I know, me being able to speak up on different things and different topics and just share my story, share my experience. Oh my goodness, man. Like I would have been so much more in it. I would have been so much more dedicated. So if you have a voice out there, regardless of what you're doing, sports commentating, if it's just talking, like doing self-improvement, if it's on math, whatever it is, you have a secret sauce that nobody has. And you will be able to take off with that if you so decide to do that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. Again, remember, one of the tips, being patient, that's definitely one. But remember, you have a voice box for a reason. Be blessed, right? Like really know, you have that for a reason. Number 16, I really wish I would have known about spirituality, like the spiritual side of things. Like a lot of us are living in a very worldly way. Like we live in the way of the world. So partying, drinking, smoking, concerts, women, like external validation, like that's worldly things. I wish I would have known more about the spiritual side of life then. Now, I'm not saying, again, even now, like these are things that I'm really just now coming into and really learning and focusing on. But if I would have known more about the spiritual side then, that this is just a physical representation of who you are rather than your spirit, your soul, I would have spent much more time developing that aspect of life, because the more clear and concise you are with your spirit, the more you'll be able to live in that world rather than what you see in the physical reality. This is just the manifestation of what you've been focusing on. If you want to focus on being better, you have to let's focus on that spiritual side too. And it goes much deeper than just what we see and what we're doing. Number 17, I wish I would have, and this kind of goes back to that first point of investing in yourself, but I wish I would have went to therapy much more sooner. Like, we live with, like, so many of us men, we live with the things that we've dealt with in our childhood, early on in life, and we never address those things. We kind of just live with it. Like, oh, it is what it is. Like, this happened in my childhood. I wasn't confident. For me, right? Like, I kind of just went into it, but like I wasn't confident. I had body dysmorphia. Like, I was a kid that really didn't like the way that he looked. Like, my confidence was based upon my weight and other issues that I had in my house with my parents and moving. I moved around a lot as a kid. Like, I had a lot of things going on growing up. I wish I would have addressed it earlier. I wish I would have taken the time to sit down and really talk about it, because the sooner you can have those conversations, the more you can get an understanding of the way that you are. And the sooner you get an understanding of the way that you are, then the faster you'll be able to talk about it and help somebody else and put that into whatever you're doing currently, or just get a better understanding of yourself and be able to maneuver through life with that information and that knowledge. So I wish I would have did that much sooner. Number 18, another aspect of investing in yourself. I wish when I was in my 20s, earlier 20s, I wish I would have known the power of credit. So many people are miseducated or uneducated on the power of credit. Credit can change your life. And if you start building your credit in your early 20s, even 18 and before, you will be able to go so much further in life, because that's what all the rich people do. All the rich people are using OPM, which is called other people's money. And sometimes, unfortunately, our parents or the people that brought us up don't have that information either. So if you get that, the sooner you get that information, the sooner you will be able to use it and start to grow your wealth over time and have a brighter future. But I wish I would have known that in my 20s. I would be doing some crazy things right now. Number 19, getting down to the nitty gritty. I wish I would have known the importance of image, like how you look and appear to other people. People call it what it is. You can't judge a book by its cover, but people judge you off the first thing that they see. How you dress, how you talk, how you walk, how you smell, how your teeth looks, how your hair looks. Everything is a perception of who you are. And I wish that I would have known that and taken it much more seriously than the way that I did when I was in my early 20s. Like, I'm not saying I was just dressing bummy and just looking like whatever, but it's like, it's certain standards that I wish I would have lived by that I know now then. Like, such things as, don't walk out of the house with flip-flops on. Don't walk out of the house with a do-rag on. Have your shirt crispy. Have your shirt ironed. Make sure your hair is done. Make sure you got a crispy lineup. Things that are just very bare minimal. I wish I would have known then, because sometimes I might walk out of the house with a wrinkled shirt on and some sweats and just be chilling, or have some slides on, or just kind of just throw on whatever. I would never do that again, because you never know who you can meet and when you can meet them. People go to the airport, be having their bonnets on, their do-rags. Man, you look a mess, man. Take that off. You need to look professional at all times, because you never know who you can run into. Imagine you run into somebody that can give you an opportunity. Would you want to have that bonnet on? Would you want to have that do-rag on? Exactly. So take it off and be prepared at all times. So I wish I would have known that in my early 20s, for sure. And last but not least, self-love, man. Self-love shows up in a lot of different ways. And self-love is not just what the traditional thinking of self-love is. It's like just showing love to yourself. But it's like, you have to know how to do that. And self-love is, in my opinion, it's just watching all aspects of your life. Like, are you eating well? Are you taking care of yourself in like the food that you're putting in your body? Are you working on your body? Are you actively working your heart, your lungs? Like, are you working out? Like, I used to treat myself awful when I was in school, in college, early 20s. I used to just drink every Thursday, be outside, but I would drink a lot, man, in school. Not going to the gym. I used to drink and not go to the gym. And I remember, like, my graduation pictures, I will put them up. I used to be big as hell, like big, like unhealthy. Like, I was just doing some very unhealthy things, like not going to the gym, playing a game all day, drinking pop, eating chips, just whatever. I'm not saying I don't eat chips and do stuff like that now, but like I'm very health conscious. So self-love is watching who you around, the women you sleeping and dealing with, man. Like, that stuff gets deep. You can't just be out here just doing whatever you want, because that's not self-love. Self-love is being aware and being conscious of the things that you're doing every single day consistently. All right. So take these 20 tips, apply them to your life, whether you are in your early 20s, maybe your mid 20s, late 20s, or even past your 20s. Take these notes and start to apply them now. It's never too late. It starts now. It starts today, and you're able to make change today. It's never too late. But take this and apply it and use these different tips, man, to better your life improve. If you need help implementing that, feel free to reach out. There's a link below. Click that link, schedule a call with me, comment below. You can join the free Men's Elevation League. We have calls every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Join in on those calls, man. It's the best #1 league for men out right now on the market. It's completely free. Feel free to join. Outside of that, man, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, most importantly. And I'll see you in the next video, man. Peace.